feels absolutely surreal and so wonderful to finally, after all this time, to be sharing another one of my Animal Crossing islands with you guys. From the very beginning of creating this island, I didn't have a specific theme in mind per se, but I did have a color palette, a general vibe that I was aiming for, and that was one that is very natural, overgrown, very moody, so you will see hints of forest core, dark academia, all of those aesthetics kind of sprinkled throughout the entire island. But I'm so excited to finally be sharing it with you guys. This has been a long time coming. It's been an island that I've always loved, but of course with Animal Crossing burnout, it's just taken a long time to complete it. But over the last several weeks, I've kind of fallen in love with decorating in this game, and it's been so much fun to finally complete this island and release its dream address, which will be in the description box if you guys want to visit yourself. And also that's of course where I'm going to be putting where you can find the custom codes that I've used throughout the island. All that good stuff will be linked there for you. But finally, without further ado, let's go ahead and tour another version of CALLA COVE. And I feel it only makes sense that we start off this tour no differently than any other tour that I conduct here on my channel, which is here at the airport. Also, you guys can see this island is set during the hour of 5 a.m. I just love the way the sky looks this early in the morning, and I think between the hours of 5 and 7 is really just one of the most beautiful times in the game. And we are also in the month of September for a couple of reasons. I love that it's still very green in September, but the weeds, whenever you plant them, they're very wispy. They almost look like wheat or hay that's growing, and I just thought they were super, super pretty. So that's the reasoning that this island is set in the future in September of 2024, even though I'm releasing this in early June. All right, you guys, let's go ahead. I will show you my map and what that looks like. So my map is a little goofy looking. I don't feel like it's particularly interesting by any means. Here's the dream address on the screen. As per usual, of course, the dream address and where you can find the custom codes, all that good stuff is going to be in the description box. But my villager lineup, this is one that I do find to be quite fun. I kept Rowan. He was my very first jock villager with this island, and I think he's great. I think he's so much fun. Of course, we have Bo. I mean, this wouldn't be an island of mine without him. Same goes with Nan, my second favorite villager. I love her. And I just wanted a very cute normal as well, which is why we have Molly. I think Egbert's just so silly and fun. Then we have Azalea. I needed and wanted a 2.0 villager, or a villager that was introduced with the 2.0 update, to be on my island, and Azalea was the winner there. Then I have Eugene. He's kind of a wild card for this island, but I had so much fun decorating the interior of his home, which hopefully we'll be able to enter some of these villagers' homes. I know on the actual dream address itself you should be able to, but because I am live touring and a lot of the villagers are asleep at this time, I'm not sure how many we'll be able to access, but all of the homes are decorated. So if you dream of this island, make sure to check them out. Some of them are kind of fun. Then we have Avery, and Avery and Dobie are neighbors. They have a little bit of lore, which I'll explain whenever we get to their homes. And then for my Peppy, we have Flora. I just adore her. I think she's so much fun. And yeah, that's the villager lineup for CALLA COVE 2.0. And right here, I left out some goodies for you guys. I'm not going to open them. I'm just gonna leave them here. It's just a couple of goodies, some props if you want to take pictures and you decide to visit this island. Also, this is my entrance. It's the first thing I built on this island. I just wanted an entrance that was overgrown and moody and felt very natural. But my favorite part of the entrance is actually this path. And this is something that I conceptualized when I made a mood board for this island. I loved a border path concept, but something about having it empty in the middle was really bugging me. So I ended up just putting an array of different patterns in the middle here, alternating between stone and succulents and greenery. And I actually ended up loving the way it turns out. So you're gonna see this path not only here at the entrance, but a couple of different places throughout the entire island. Oh, and look at that. We have a little balloon going by. Well, isn't that sweet? But yeah, the entrance was the very first thing that I built, which maybe next time I'll try and work backwards and, you know, maybe I'll go for doing the secret beach first or the back cliff sides first. But for this one, the entrance is the very first thing that I built, and it really did set the tone for the rest of the island. And you know what? I'm actually gonna go to the right first. I wish my island was easier to navigate. It doesn't really make sense in terms of the flow, but I'll do my best to show you guys around here. We have Able Sisters right out of the airport gate, which was another early thing that I built. And I really don't know why, because Able Sisters, out of all of the buildings, I do find intimidating to decorate because it's very red, it stands out, and maybe that is why I tackled it right away, is I just wanted to cover it up with as many cliffs and trees as possible, which, as you guys can see, I feel like I did here. But yeah, Able Sisters is quite close to the airport, but it is tucked back just enough. So once you're arriving at the airport, you can, you know, stop right here, take a little breather, and then maybe get yourself a nice new wardrobe as you explore. I guess that's the concept here, who knows? But I did want, of course, little cowboy hats, some cowboy boots to be left out here. Everything just neutral, warm, all that fun stuff. And then speaking of the island buildings, if you go down this pathway right here, it's gonna bring you to the main plaza entrance and, of course, resident services. So this was something else that I believe I built relatively early. I'm gonna try and get a wider angle here. But I wanted resident services to kind of have its own moment. You know, I wanted it to feel like a true plaza, an area for all of the villagers to gather, to cozy up, maybe to spend some time, whether it be enjoying the fireworks shows in the summer or just when KK visits, you name it. So that's why I have this giant fountain in the middle right here. And this path actually does technically connect right over here to Able Sisters. But I think it's a lot more fun to go down this center pathway right here. So that's how you get to resident services. Obviously, there's no bed here because I'm not dreaming of my own island, but this is where you will be waking up if you decide to dream of CALLA COVE 2.0 yourself. So I'm going to show you guys this front beach area. As you're going down this wooden path, eventually it's going to drop you off right here. This was one of the last beaches that I decorated. Beaches are not my forte, but I actually shockingly had so much fun decorating them on this island. And this one is heavily inspired by Muscle Beach in Venice, but with a very natural, overgrown kind of twist. So as you can see, we do have an outdoor gym here, tons of equipment. And then over here on the left-hand side, if I can get my character back over this way, we even have a little outdoor shower, but it had to be the Cosmo shower. I feel like it fit the best. So a little outdoor shower to clean off, and a place where you can exercise, get a little beach sweat on. But it was a fun challenge to incorporate, you know, gym equipment with what otherwise is a pretty overgrown natural landscape. But it was really fun. And to kind of complement that, over here, we have a little bit of beachside yoga, which I thought was also super fun to do. My character's definitely not dressed for yoga, but we'll have her do a little bit. Let's see. Oh, and she's going the wrong way, but you guys get the idea. It was really fun to decorate this spot. Now, if we go back up here, oh my gosh, so many monarchs out, super pretty. Another reason I do love this time of year in Animal Crossing, I love the monarch butterflies. And here is my Nook's Cranny, which I recently actually changed. Originally, my Nook's Cranny, while it was in almost the exact same location, it was up on a cliff and not this low to the ground. I am so happy I changed it. I have much more room, and I wanted Nook's Cranny to very much feel agricultural, almost like it were a plant shop. Also works out nicely that we have pumpkins right here as a part of Nook's Cranny during this time of year. So this is an area where lots of wheat is growing, as you guys can tell. but I had so much fun decorating Nook's Cranny, and I was so nervous about it because we are so close to this beach over here. But it actually worked out quite nicely, and I think a lot of that is because of the usage of the wheat fields, and they kind of break up the grass and the beach area a little bit more than I was expecting. And you'll see all of my beach rocks are pretty natural too. A little bit of leaves, a little bit of wheat, a surfboard here and there. And then back here is just a private little spa area on the beach. Just a place to maybe grab a book, take a bath, relax. So yeah, no, I really enjoy my Nook's Cranny. It's definitely up there in terms of favorite areas on my island. I really like this view in particular. I think it's pretty fun. So yeah, I guess, which way do I want to go? I think we're gonna go up to the neighborhood. There's a few different ways that you can explore this island. First, I'll just show you kind of resident services here, a little bit more up close. I did want, the backdrop of resident services to be a little bit taller, which is why we have these cliffs here. And I gotta say, the real MVP of this whole island, the vines. I feel like they make the biggest difference. I feel like without them, it really wouldn't have captured the exact look that I wanted. So shout out to the vines. Thank you for existing and making my life a lot easier. And here is a little pathway to our first neighborhood. The main neighborhood, really. There's a couple of villagers that live other places, but a good bulk of them live over this way. So here's a little bench you can sit on to view a couple of the houses. And it looks like we'll be able to go into Molly's home, Rowan's home, and maybe some of the other ones will wake up as we're touring and we can go inside. But all of the villagers have different themed yards and interiors. I'll show you guys exactly what I mean by that. Oh, up here, I'll show you this tiny little coffee nook since we are in this area. I didn't know what to put on this cliff. Thankfully, chat on Twitch helped me out decorating this spot. And we made it just like a little cliffside coffee nook. A little bit random, but you know what? Fun little filler area experimentation. So I guess we'll explore these downstairs areas, I guess is the best way to describe them first. This is Azalea's home. It looks like we can't go inside. Her home is one of the few areas that has white flowers. Throughout the rest of the island, you're gonna see green mums and black tulips, and that's pretty much it. But I wanted to give Azalea something different that she's growing, and she's our plant queen. So the interior of her home is very bright. It's filled with tons of botanicals, and it feels like a plant shop, which I wanted. And then Egbert, this is Egbert's home right here. He is very much sleeping, as all the lazies I'm sure are right now. But I wanted him to have some kind of job, so he is our postal man. As you can see, he runs a little post office. He manages shipments that are coming in and out of the island. So that's why his yard is filled with all of those. And then we have Flora. Flora is our retail queen. Since she is a peppy and loves shopping, I wanted her to be in charge of any retail imports and exports, and that's why her yard is on the peninsula right here. And it's more of a grocery situation as opposed to, a boutique. But that's what the Able sisters are for, is to sell the clothes. And so Flora is our grocery queen. Here is a little beach, just a place to relax, unwind a little bit. And then over here we have a tiny little garbage dump, since we do have a lot of, people running shipments and imports, exports over this way. I feel like this is kind of like the community garbage and recycling area. And then this beach is a sentimental one. This one has nothing to do with Animal Crossing itself. I had to say goodbye to my cat of 11 years in March of this year, and it was really difficult. She was like my first pet, aside from having pets as a family and as a kid. I had had her since college, so it was really hard losing her, and I wanted to give her an area that was dedicated just to her. So that's what this spot is. That's her picture right there. And yeah, I didn't want to give her like a graveyard, but I did want to memorialize her in some way. So that's why there's lots of flowers and candles, and that's her own private little beach. Okay, now I'll show you the homes that are up this cliff, which you can get this way by using that ladder if you really want to. It's just my way of saying like Egbert is friends with everyone up here, but I prefer to go this way. Molly's yard is another one of my favorite spots on this island. She very clearly runs a little farm. We did have some wheat obviously growing in front of Nook's Cranny, but Molly has everything else. She's got our sugarcane, carrots, also wheat, tomatoes, potatoes, all the good stuff. She's the one in charge of it. So that is her contribution to the island. And it was really fun too, making her yard, or farm rather, this zigzag kind of pattern. It was something I had never tried before, and I really, really like the way that it turned out. Yeah, her yard is one of my favorites right here. And it looks like we can explore her house since she's awake, so we'll go inside and I'll show you what we did for her interior. Oh no, she's sick, Molly. Oh, poor thing. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to go get her medicine at some point. But Molly's home. Molly's home we decorated to just kind of be like a kitchen of sorts. And she's growing all of these crops. We figured, you know, let's have Molly also be a bit of a chef, a baker, someone that creates preserves. I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing that she's ill as we are visiting her, but you know, at least you can get an idea of the interior of her home. Poor thing, she's up and like having a fever at 5 in the morning. Oh, poor thing. I'll bring you back medicine once we're done with the tour, Molly, I promise. But yeah, that is her home. And we can actually circle back to this area in a second, that little dock. So before we do, this is Rowan's yard, and it's probably very obvious that he is our resident jock. He's got his own little half court, which this is another area I really like. I just like how it's full of weeds and we got some leaves everywhere. He doesn't really tend to his yard, but he has plenty of activities, whether it be weightlifting, basketball, having a punching bag. And so I think the interior of his home is going to make a lot of sense as well. And here it is. He pretty much just has a locker room. I also gave him this little shower over here to the right. But yeah, I wanted to just give Rowan a locker room and an area for him to just do all the athletic things. You know, he's got his little trophy cabinet, lots of KK albums hanging up, and you might be picking up on like a blue and orange theme that is very intentional. If you know, you know, especially for Rowan here being a tiger. So yeah, this was a really fun one. For those who don't understand what I'm saying, I am an Auburn fan. I went to Auburn. So that is a little Easter egg nod to that, with the color scheme and the fact that he's a tiger. And then, oh man, I'm actually quite sad that we can't go in this one. If you visit, I hope you enjoy it, but Eugene's home it's probably my favorite interior out of all of them. I won't totally give it away. I guess there's no way for me to like give it away just by talking about it, but I went for the vibe of him being a recording producer, a music producer of sorts, and so the inside of his home is very much in alignment with that, and it's my favorite. I had so much fun making it. But his yard itself is pretty simple. Like, we do have, of course, a little radio right here, and then we have, I don't know, his headphones and a couple of other things, but his yard is pretty minimal in comparison to the inside of his home, in my opinion. And then we'll go back this way. This is just a fun little way to get to the secret beach. So if you pick up this present, you'll have a little wetsuit. So we'll put this on and then you can hop off the back here. Ta-da. And then, oh, ignore all those twigs. And that was for me to stop them from spawning everywhere else. But yeah, this is where you can swim if you want to access the secret beach this way. It's over here to the left. Obviously you don't have to, but it's kind of a fun way to get around. And of course, I'll show you everything that we're kind of skipping over. And here is where we arrive. Oh, if I can ever get up. I feel like I never swim in the game anymore. All right, character. It's time. There we go. I was worried for a second that she wasn't gonna come on up. So this is the secret beach. Let me take off my wetsuit. There we go. It's pretty simple. I do have a little magazine and a chair, so that way you can read right here. Just enjoy the sunrise. It's pretty peaceful. I also wanted to make sure there was enough access to like come and go, whether Red's here or you want to do some swimming, whatever that may be. And this is also where our campsite is. I'm gonna actually run this way to show you the full campsite entrance, which is here. We do have a couple of kids' tents, and this whole back area is very much more of a campground than just the campsite. We do have the kids' tents, but also as you are walking back this way and you hang a right, you might have seen this as I was swimming, but there's a little area for some stargazing, or if you would rather sleep outside and not in the tent, then this is where you would go. Also, we have a campsite villager. I don't know who it is. I haven't looked yet. But let's see, because I did just set the dream address this morning. I'm very curious if it's a good one. Oh, it's Cherry. It's a great one. Aw, Cherry. Definitely a good omen, I feel like. So if you visit, I know you can't go in the campsite, but it's Cherry who is technically in there. Definitely good vibes, I feel like. And then continuing with the whole campgrounds concept, here's like our larger bonfire area where, you know, you can tell ghost stories or roast marshmallows, all that. And then we also have a little park area, maybe for the kids that are visiting the campsite or someone that just wants to enjoy a little park moment. So yeah, that is the neighborhood. I'm actually going to walk back this way and we're gonna run around. I'm gonna show you the other side of the island. I guess, which way should I go? I'll start at the airport, why not? I'm gonna backtrack and go to the airport instead. Like I said, there's no one way to navigate this island by any means, which is why I'm always so impressed when people do make that happen in their dream addresses. But yeah, this one is not like that. So lots of backtracking involved. Okay, so here now we're gonna go to the left. Again, lots of just nature and lots of views like this are gonna be seen throughout the entire island. So don't forget to pan up from time to time. And over here on this teeny tiny beach, we have a little volleyball court. Nothing too crazy, but instead of using like the white volleyball lines, I used the exact same border that's on this main brown path up here. And also Flick's here. Hey, buddy. But yeah, that's such a tiny little beach area. I didn't know what to put there, but I figured it was kind of the perfect spot to throw in a little volleyball court. Okay, so this is my favorite area for sure. This is a vineyard with a little winery attached to it right here. I'm so happy with the way it looks. I didn't use any, you know, purple flowers. I didn't use any umbrellas. I just used the medium size hardwood tree, and I think it looks pretty good. In combination too with a lot of different bushes that were just not in season, so they're not blooming or anything. But yeah, we have a little vineyard right here. And as you guys can see in the back, we also have a little tasting room situation. So this was so much fun to make. I cannot for the life of me remember where I first saw the idea to put items in the display cases, but specifically the bottles framed with the castle gates. But once I saw that, I knew I had to recreate a little vineyard on my island. And this area I just find to be so fun. I love seeing villagers sit right here. I think it's super cute when they do that. And this is actually Beau's house. I wanted to give my favorite villager my favorite yard. Of course, we can't go in his home, but he has a pretty chic interior there. And then next to him, we have Miss Nan, and it looks like she is inside, so we'll go in there, but I'll show off her yard first. She is our pottery queen, so she has a little area to sculpt and paint some pottery. And also there's a little fishing spot right here, and this isn't even specific to Nan necessarily. I just had this tiny little pond, and I figured I would just put a fishing spot there. Really, there's no rhyme or reason other than that. Okay, let's go inside, and I'll show you the inside of her home since she's awake. Oh, she's cooking. What is she making? What is she doing? Frosted pretzels? Absolutely. And I don't have that recipe yet. So yeah, this is her home. I felt like it just fit Nan's vibe so much. Lots of dark colors, lots of greens. She looks absolutely ridiculous wearing this jersey in here. Usually she's wearing her normal dress, but you know what? It is what it is. But yeah, no, this is Nan's home. I decorated it quite a while ago, actually, probably relatively quickly after the 2.0 update, and I just never changed it. I think it works for her. And yeah, no, she's got a little bed, a little living area, a little desk area, and a kitchen. So she's got all the things, which a lot of the villagers don't. Like Molly's house, as you guys saw, was primarily just a kitchen. Rowan's house was a locker room. So they don't all have full homes like that. But yeah. And I'll show you guys how all of this connects since we're over here. So this path goes to the other side of resident services, right here. And then this path, which I absolutely love, but I feel like I rarely take it, this also goes back to the campsite and the back neighborhood. But I just absolutely love walking through here. I think it's so much fun. Just like a little tunnel of sorts. But I'll show you exactly where it connects, which is right here. So these two signs point towards the neighborhood, and it's kind of shocking that we don't have a version of these angled signs that point directly to the campsite. So I used the orchard one instead, even though I don't have an orchard on this island, or really any fruit trees except for coconut. But that's where that little pathway goes. And then right here, since we are close to resident services, I wanted KK to have his own spot. So here's like a little record shop of sorts where you can purchase some of his albums, listen to some of his music, all that good stuff. And then, I'll show you this first. Why not? I was debating which way to go. Okay, so up here, and this is heavily inspired by Mel, also known as Storybrooke Crossing, whenever Mel made a football field. I also have a football field. I just thought it was so cool seeing her build, and I wanted to do something similar. So that is where we are now. And this whole code, I am going to do my best to remember to upload it. I made my own football field code for a couple of reasons. Most of the ones that I would find had a certain color number that didn't match what I was going for, or they were solid green, and I didn't want that. If I did want to change seasons on my island and the grass would change, I would want it to be transparent. So this code is completely transparent. So if it snows, you know, there's going to be snow underneath, or if the grass dies, It'll be brown underneath. So that's that reason that I did that. But yeah, we have this big old football field over here, which also is so much fun whenever I see my villagers with the zoomies over in this area, especially if it's Rowan. I just get an absolute kick out of it. And I'll sneak over to these beaches, might as well. There's a little area right here to slide on through because right outside of the football field, I figured we have to have a tailgate area. So that's where we are here, of course, complete with a couple of portable bathrooms, another bonfire, and then back this way is where we have people parked, and we have a little food truck situation. So if you're a little bit hungry before the game, you want some snacks, a meal or two, then this is where you come. You just park your car, hang out for a little bit, and then you can go enjoy the game. So that's what this beach is fully dedicated for. Speaking of beaches, I'll just keep going down here because I haven't showed you this left beach yet. Parts of it are pretty natural. This is the little beachside bee apiary. It was fun. I was just throwing down some items and figured, you know what? This would actually be a cute spot to do a little apiary. So we have some bees right there. And then we have a little boat situation. Also, this gyroid fragment I did not place here. It just washed up right there, and I thought it looked perfect, so I just didn't touch it. But wanted to have a little area for the yacht. Again, beach rocks are relatively simple. Nothing too crazy happening on them. Just some dropped green items. And then as we make our way towards the front, this is where we're gonna find Captain and the dock. So again, a little bit more playing with the idea of imports and exports. And you can access Captain, but like barely. You have to squeeze through right here. But I thought it would be fun to add in, you know, a little treasure map of sorts, and of course the briefcase again. But yeah, I actually like this little build. It's tiny, but I think it's fun. And then this side of the beach is more for leisure. So we have just a couple of areas to lay out, catch some sun, read a book, you name it. Whether it be on those chairs or some towels. So that's what's happening here. And then we have 2 more villager homes. So I mentioned Dobie and Avery having some lore. Here are their homes. This is Avery's house right here. And he is in charge of growing and cutting these trees. So chopping wood, growing the trees for the wood. And then Dobie over here takes said wood that has been harvested, and he's our woodworker. So he makes toys or structures or whatever the island needs out of the wood that Avery has harvested. And neither one of them is home. Avery's house, the interior is kind of just a random wild card, but it ended up looking kind of cool. And then Dobie's is kind of just like an elevated version of how it originally is in the game. It's like an office of sorts, but I just kind of did my own version of it. But yes, on my island, they are not only working together, they are also lovers. 2 old men that are making some stuff for the island, and also they're in love. And then over here, honestly, this spot, I didn't know what to do with it. It had been empty for a while. It's where I was just storing bushes, and it's relatively close to the museum, which I'll show you guys in a second. And I wanted to make just a pretty little butterfly garden, so that's what we have here. Again, I love the monarchs in this time of year, so I have a couple of monarchs throughout, but also like the sunset moth and a few others too. And again, this is another area that has white flowers, so I guess I was wrong whenever I was mentioning Azalea's house, how it was the only area with white flowers. This one actually has some too. We got a couple of the cosmos. And speaking of the museum, you can see just by the sign right here, if we were to continue left and not go through the vineyard, this actually is going to take us to the museum. Another really early build that I did on this island because it's pretty complex, just with the terraforming. As you guys can see, we have like a little double incline moment, And then the museum is up here. So I wanted like a whole bunch of waterscaping. Since the museum itself is just so immaculate and large, I felt like it needed that kind of entrance to it, really. But I wanted to do my best to really keep the theme alive with just tons of green, tons of trees. I didn't cover the museum by any means, but I did want it to feel just immaculate, and I'm happy with it. Turned out pretty well. So our museum is up that incline, nice and tucked away. But at the same time, it does have quite a grand entrance, if I say so myself. And then just a couple of other areas to show you. We're gonna go back through the vineyard this way. And instead of taking the left incline, which goes up to the football field, which I showed you, we're gonna go to the right. And this takes us to my house. Hi, butterfly. This is one of my favorite views, probably. I love the outside of my house, which I've redone a few times. I ended up settling kind of on a laundry theme for my yard, which, you know, it's a bit ironic considering I don't like doing laundry in real life, but I do think in terms of just an overall aesthetic, it works pretty nicely. So that's what we have going on here for my yard. And I think just like the little waterfalls with the well all ended up being pretty nice. The outside of my house is really dark, so I gave it the pop of green mums for our little wreath. And I'll show you guys the inside. There's a couple of rooms that are decorated. The rest are blocked off, but a few of them are done. The first being my living room. So it has, I wanted the concept of this being like a true foyer in a sense, where you drop your keys, you drop your hat and your coat. So that's the general idea for this area. And then over here, I just wanted like a just overly decorated living room. That's why we have just tons and tons of items over here. In retrospect, I definitely, oh, who is visiting? Oh my gosh, Rowan. I thought my game was freezing, but Rowan's here for a visit. Well, okay. He's joining on the tour now. You definitely did catch me by surprise, but it's okay, Rowan. Come on in. Anyway, in retrospect, I should have hung up some things on this back wall here, and I didn't, but it is what it is. You'll also see we got Bo's photo up here on the wall, which is fun. But to block off all of the walls, I kind of went back and forth between the Nordic shelving. Obviously, I did do the curtains. What is he saying? I have seen those before, but I didn't know what they were for. Oh my goodness. He's very confused. Oh. He can hang out for a little bit more. So I ended up going with the curtains is my point. I just thought they looked really good without being too bulky. Also with the bookcases and the Nordic shelving, it was just a little too warm for my liking. But that's that. Let me show you upstairs. And I guess Rowan is joining us. So this is where I come to dream and to do my island tours. I really wanted a bedroom that I loved because every time I do film a video, this is where I go. This is where I go to sleep. So I have a little bed area over here, a little, I guess, living spot here in the middle. And then I wanted a closet. So this whole area over here to the right is kind of like a vanity wardrobe, walk-in closet concept. So that is that. Yeah, and I'm super happy with the way my bedroom turned out. It's very cluttered, but it feels cozy to me. Feels super cozy. And yeah, every time I do a tour, this is where I come, at least for now. I mean, once we reset this island, I'm gonna have to redo a different bedroom, but that's it for now. And then I'll show you guys the basement as well. Oh, Rowan's not coming. He's just hanging out downstairs. That's fine. And here is the basement. I kind of wanted a hybrid of a true just storage basement, which is why over here on the right-hand side, you're gonna see tons of boxes, lots of like junk. I put holiday decor over here just to, you know, have it be a part of storage, as many of us store our holiday decorations when it's not the holidays. But I also think it's fun to have a basement that you can actually escape to and enjoy quality time either with other people or with yourself. So that's why on this side, we have more of a kind of a rustic kitchen bar situation. We have the pool table, the guitar, somewhere to eat a little snack, and then right in the middle, if you want to watch some TV on this old television set, you can. So that was the concept with the basement. I also feel like whether people have a basement or an older garage, there's always the classic refrigerator just with either tons of frozen food or things that are like not as perishable. I was kind of running with that idea too. But yeah, a little hybrid between a storage basement and a fun basement. That was the concept here. All right, Rowan, it's time to leave, buddy. All of the other rooms are blocked off. There's nothing in there. Actually, I think one of them technically has a rug, but I mean, that's it. And you guys, that's it. That is the island. I'm very happy with it. I, near the end of decorating it, was just striving to get it complete. I was not striving for perfection, let alone, you know, I mean, even honestly, excellence either. I was just striving for completion. Let's be real. But I had so much fun creating it, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. I am really excited to make another one and hopefully have it take not as long as this one took, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know if you visit and you get to see all of the other villager interiors. Again, Eugene's is my personal favorite, but a lot of them are fun. So if you do visit, let me know which villager house you enjoy the most, or even just what part of the island that you like. I'm gonna try and do a totally different theme next, and that is still to be determined as to what it is, but I have an idea that I think a lot of you will appreciate, especially if you've been watching my channel for a while. Thank you so much for supporting my channel as per usual and for hanging out with me on this tour. Sorry it took so long for me to actually finish another island, but you know, navigating any kind of burnout is a very, very real thing, even when it has to do with video games and decorating in them. So we are done now. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please again, let me know if you visit, tag me in photos if you take them. And I appreciate each and every one of you so much. I hope you'll have a great one wherever you are in this big old world, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.